Since emerging from the 1970s, different heavy metal artists have been labelled as pro-Satan, sexually explicit, and it is for violent, depressed human beings. In this documentary, I challenge these views by interviewing different professionals, so sit back and witness the controversial sound.
Marilyn Manson is somebody who has made his bread and butter off of shocking the American conscience.
Marilyn Manson. When I first heard Marilyn Manson, I was 16. He scared the out of me. Absolutely gave me nightmares.
You look at Marilyn Manson and you see somebody who is shocking, maybe unkept. He has been sort of the whipping boy for who feel like he has the ability to compel others to commit acts of harm.
On April 20th, 1999, in Columbine High School in America, a school shooting occurred. Heavy metal was to blame.
It can't be farther from the truth. So I think the media, a lot, even when school shootings in America typically happen, the first thing they do is try to blame something in the media. So they look at heavy metal bands and artists such as Marilyn Manson. When you had Columbine, they found in the notebooks of Dylan Harrison that he referenced Marilyn Manson lyrics.
There were bodies like the family council that was put together and headed by Tipper Gore, who sought to sort of regulate heavy metal music because they felt as if it was actually causing tangible harm.
And then all of a sudden they said, oh, listen to Marilyn Manson, they're devil worshippers.
Bill O'Reilly invited Marilyn Manson to come on his show some years ago.
And he said, right, you can go ahead and blame me because I'm the easy scapegoat. I look different, I sound different, I act different, I speak differently, and I have different opinions than the established majority in society.
Shalene L. Koss at the Loyola University believes heavy metal decreases the need to be violent and makes people less stressed. On the Bill O'Reilly show, Marilyn Manson also went on to say how he doesn't encourage people to have sex. He just talks about his own sexuality and he just uses sexual themes. As well as Marilyn Manson, Rammstein is another band that also uses sexual themes in their performances.
Rammstein, the 2016 Download Festival, headlining, they were brilliant.
Seeing them live, you would certainly be shocked. You would be appalled by what you saw during one of their shows. You see people lighting themselves on fire on stage. You see massive pyrotechnics.
Some of the lyrics, when translated into English, are actually quite deep and just emotional.
There was the story of this girl who was at, I think it was Download or another metal festival, and she had her top pulled down. Some guys saw this and obviously they shouted, "Stop exposed girl," and everybody stopped and they gave her a coat to cover up her bits with, and then they asked who did it, and then they saw that justice was done.
This is a shout out to my ex.
As well as heavy metal, there is also pop music, which has a well-known reputation for being quite sexually explicit.
Little Mix is, in my opinion, it's just a band because it's got girls in it. They're going to be easy to sell now. So, in my opinion, I think they're just made by record companies and that just to make money.
They seem to have changed a lot. It seemed like at first they were just normal girls, they went through the X Factor process, and now they are very famous and they've lost their individuality as people.
Whereas heavy metal music is normally viewed in a different manner, pop artists are more commonly labelled as sexually explicit. I talked with different heavy metal fans to get their view on this.
Media is partially responsible for the sexualisation of women.
Part of me thinks that their music isn't good enough on its own. If you literally just was given their music on a black YouTube video, like no images, would people still watch it and enjoy it as much?
With both pop and heavy metal music being discriminated against, stereotypes most commonly impact people's views.
Waste of space, no talent, auto-tuned studio creations that exist to make producers money and perpetuate the status quo that anyone can be famous if they are good looking and have sex appeal to teenagers.
Up to a certain bit they're good, it's just they need to improve a bit more. Probably going to a new genre. Every song, every pop song is pretty much the same. Ex-boyfriends, pretty much. You've been portrayed like, saying like sinful and against God. And
People who listen to heavy metal, maybe on TV, they're always dressed full black head to toe.
Long hair, aggressive, violent.
it's always been stereotyped, so a pop person would be like Essex people, like fake tan and...
I say, oh yeah, I love jazz music, and they all make you think I'm some sort of weird, like, old man trapped in a young person's body.
People in heavy metal bands are just as typical as anybody else. They're calm and they're nice and they have families, they have emotions, they are scared of failure, they want everybody to be happy, they don't want war, they don't want violence.
Heavy metal in particular has been labelled in society through people using many derogative terms, such as accusing bands of being morbid and grotesque. Heavy metal artists have also been accused of being Satanist through them using the 7 deadly sins.
Why I listen to heavy metal is because it gives me a cathartic outlet, an appropriate, safe, cathartic outlet for any pent-up frustration, stress, anger, aggression, uncertainty.
Music, for many people, is the reason that they make it through the day.
Anxiety I feel at any given time.
Some songs can help you through your life.
The first time I heard Slipknot, I was 17 in high school when their album came out, and I just remember thinking to myself, listening to the lyrics and listening to the intensity. These guys know what I'm going through. They've been through some. They've been hurt. They've been wronged. They've been dumped by girls. They felt insecure.
I just don't see how music would create low self-esteem.
This is a band that has overcome drug use. It's been well documented, where now the band has just released their latest album, The Serenity of Suffering, where they all seem to be in a very good place.
I think it's just that people who are depressed tend to lean towards heavy metal.
They may discuss suicide. I don't think it romanticizes it.
For those of you that are struggling with substance, Korn is a band you should look to.
The most important thing about determining suicide in relation to music is what is the emotional state of the person in mental state before they start listening to the music. Yeah, people who commit suicide listen to heavy metal, but also people who commit suicide, they listen to Beyonce. They could listen to child Peppa Pig soundtrack songs.
To conclude this documentary, I have discovered that the stereotypes and the discrimination that the heavy metal genre sees is built upon the media.
I'm glad there are people out there who show people that they do belong, and they do have a place in this world.
Maybe heavy metal or any genre of music, that is what makes you find your friends.
There are those that don't fit the mold, and I don't think you should have to.
Music, for many people, is the reason that they make it through the day.